Welcome to the Get Better in Chelmsford podcast. I'm Rich, and today I'm sitting down with Sue Carter from RHS Hyde Hall, one of only 5 RHS gardens in the entire country, and it's right here on our doorstep. It's more than a garden, and Sue is going to prove it. Sue, welcome to podcasts. Hyde Hall often gets described as like perhaps the crown jewel of the postcode. I often forget that actually it's associated with Chelmsford. For those listening and that perhaps haven't been, how would you describe Hyde Hall?
Well, Hyde Hall is a beautiful garden. It's sat on top of a hill and it's got these amazing sort of sweeping panoramas, wide open views and the sort of glorious sort of East Anglian big open skies. And within the garden itself, it's got a really eclectic mix of different styles. So one moment you can be walking along a lush green lawn with roses, and then the next you're transported to sort of Antipodean planting. So, a really good mix of styles.
Yeah, and you've just described it as a garden, but perhaps talk about it in a wider sense. Like, what does it bring to Chelmsford? What does it mean for the region? And is it more than just a garden?
Well, I think it helps put Chelmsford and probably the wider Essex on the map, really. I'd like to think we're quite privileged to have it in the county, really. The RHS only has 5 gardens and we've got one of them. So, I'm quite pleased we have it, really. Yeah,
and you mentioned the RHS. Just talk about that and the association. And do you have to earn that, or when you say we've only got 5 in the country, how does that come about? How does this association work?
So the RHS is a national gardening charity, and it does have 5 gardens, and we do lots of different things. But I think really Hyde Hall locally is seen as Hyde Hall. But where the RHS does come into play, I think it helps us with that sort of credibility and awareness and hopefully trust. I think most people hopefully have heard of the RHS. So I think it just means to a lot of people that, oh yeah, I know the RHS. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realise they're part of Hyde Hall. But yeah, I know who the RHS is.
Yeah. So when we talk about Hyde Hall, you said you think it stands on its own. Where do you think it would be without the RHS side of it? And what do they bring? What do they do to help with the area or the gardens or the experience there?
Well, I think one of the main things, it's the awareness. But also the investment as well. I think if we were just Hyde Hall on our own, we probably wouldn't have developed the garden at the same rate we have because things cost money. So we've done a lot of investment over the years. So I think that helps and it gives us access to national campaigns. So a lot more beyond what we could ever achieve on our own.
Yeah. And do you find you have to constantly balance between serving the brand that is RHS and what you want to do locally? Is there a bit of a paymaster relationship there where there's investment coming in? How does that dynamic work?
I'd say it's more of a partnership. Our team are really passionate and they come up with great ideas, and we do have advisors within the RHS that help us, but it's very much it's a collaboration, really. And we also want to do what works well for our locality. All the RHS gardens are in different areas of the country. So we want to do what's right for Essex, the environment, our locals that love it. So it's a partnership and it works well.
Yeah. And with the point about RHS and awareness then, do you think that does the heavy lifting in terms of bringing people from outside the local area to Hyde Hall and to Chelmsford? Or do you think Hyde Hall would do that on its own? Is that the key play in bringing outsiders? Because I think you once said to me that the majority of the visitors actually are quite local.
There's a little bit of both. I mean, we certainly do local advertising, which is very much that reminding people we're there. And a lot of that advertising will be based in sort of Chelmsford, Southend, so very localised to us. But when we do RHS brand campaigns, then suddenly we're sort of elevated again in an advert at, say, Liverpool Street Station, which just broadens our audience for us massively. So it works really well that we can do that local and national. So we can sort of, it's styled up when we have a big brand campaign, but then sometimes it's just local when we're advertising our next event. Yeah. But we certainly do benefit from it, undoubtedly.
Do you have a view on how many people visit locally versus the rest of the country? Do people come from abroad? Because obviously we're so close to borders and the transport network. Do we get foreign visitors, or what does it bring into the local area?
Well, it's consistently about 80% are local. And when I'm saying local, I literally do mean Chelmsford and Southend postcodes.
Right.
But that's great. I think it shows that we're sort of relevant, that people are seeing it as part of their routine. They come regularly. And that's great, because when it's on their doorstep, why not? So, lots of locals, lots of regulars that really sort of grow with us.
Yeah.
That are keen to see what we're doing.
And how do you, if it's with such a local audience that are those repeat visitors, how do you keep reinventing it? Because it's the same events every year but with a twist, or it's the same seasons every year but with a twist. How do you keep that relevant for those guys? And then what can we do different to perhaps broaden those audiences? Because obviously that Southend was very, very local, hyper local. How do we get Brentwood, Romford, a bit more London, north of that, south of that, and so on? How do we keep reinventing?
Well, I think we're really lucky, because as a garden, we're not static. We've got the seasons. You could say, daffodils come up at the same time each year, but there's always something different. It's just evolving. Gardens grow, so they're constantly changing. It's just not static. So I think every season, there's always something new to come back for, and we plant new displays. So there's enough to keep people coming back. And again, with the events, we just tweak at the edges, just add new content. So it hopefully keeps it fresh. And I think for us, one of the biggest things is word of mouth. So I think we do sort of then get out to the Brentwoods and the Romfords. And when we have bigger events, it gives people a reason to think, oh yeah, let's try. They've got a flower show on, let's go. So I think that word of mouth helps a lot as well.
Yeah, so thinking about word of mouth, then that's very much the experience you deliver on the day. So if I was turning up there, who's it for? Like, what's the experience you can visit for? Kids, families, older folk? What really can you go there to experience that I can then shout about?
Well, I think it's more than just a garden. I think about how people use it, we've got people that come in from sort of toddlers that might be attending we call them Little Acorns, which is just a toddler's workshop, right through to older people. And a lot of people just actually use it as a day out, as a nice place to visit. They'll come with family and friends, they'll have lunch. It's just somewhere beautiful to visit. We also get school children, adult learners. So it's a whole range of people that are coming for different reasons. But you'll be surprised, by far, most people just say, day out in nature. Just coming for a nice day out. Yeah.
And do you think the association with RHS, which you said is obviously a benefit from awareness perspective, do you also think it creates a certain perception? Like if I was to think about RHS, I think more about my grandmother and her garden allotments and things like that. I don't think about some of the things you just said around toddlers and coming in and doing Acorns activities and schools and things. So where it's been a help, is it also a hindrance? And are you working hard to reach new demographics?
Yeah, I think when you've got horticultural in the name, I think there's this sweeping assumption that you've got to have a fair bit of knowledge about the subject, where you don't. A lot of the people that come to us probably would describe themselves as novices, actually. And again, it really doesn't matter if you know the plant name or not. If you like it, it's about having a go. So I think, again, just modern ways of thinking and approaching things, I think people see their own spaces and their green spaces differently, perhaps to how our grandparents did. I can think back to sort of visions of people, my dad sort of being quite formally dressed when he was gardening. Things have changed. It's not like that anymore. It's having a go, just trying it for yourselves. And I think even if you get it wrong, it's still trying, isn't it? So I think, you definitely don't have to have knowledge. And I think we're just storytelling and getting the message out there. It's just give it a go. Come and see.
Yeah. So would you kind of mark it down as a bit more of a, where you talk about the younger kids in the schools, and more of an educational visit in that sense, or is there more to it? What are the kind of things that I might come and go, oh, I didn't expect that from Hyde Hall?
Well, I think again, I think if you put aside the sort of people that just come in for a nice day out, there's certain things which people do, like, again, have lunch. But we've got a vegetable garden, and you can go and see the vegetable garden. You can go and learn about it, see things. So we leave some of the fruit there for display purposes so people can see what it is. But then you can walk up to our restaurant and eat it for lunch. So perhaps people don't realise that, but it's sort of that whole sort of plot to plate thing, that you can see it in the garden and then go and taste it. You can join workshops. We have a wealth of different workshops for people, so they can get involved in activities like painting, photography, pruning. So we do quite a lot of different things, much more than just about gardening. But I think mostly, I'd like to think we provide inspiration for people to give it a go in their own gardens. They'll come and see things at ours and think, oh, I could try that. And we know they try it because sometimes they send us photos. They'll send us a photo and say, we've done a mini dry garden. So it's wonderful.
Yeah. So do we, you kind of alluded to that it's not just for gardeners in that sense, but there's a lot of inspiration and things. Does the perception of perhaps it's for gardeners come from that RHS association, and you're, again, still trying to tackle that to say, no, it's a great location just to come and visit and experience different things?
Yeah, I think people are probably gardeners without realising it anyway. There's a lot of people say, well, I haven't even got a garden. But you've probably got a pot plant, you might have a windowsill, you might have a balcony. It's an outdoor space. And if you've got any greenery in your house, you are a gardener. You're caring for it, you're nurturing it. So I think there's a lot more people that are gardeners, even without realising it, actually. But yeah, hopefully, yeah, I don't know. It's quite weird, actually. It's sort of, I think people come to us for all different reasons. Gardening is just one of them.
Yeah, and I guess there's testament in that you say, although it's quite a high proportion of people coming from the local area, they come back. So I guess the message really here is that you have to come and try it, to experience it, to kind of get it. And now in this, as the weather changes, is as good a time as any. Yeah,
it is. I think if you've never been before, I think the only thing, just try it, see what you think of it. I think once you're at Hyde Hall, the garden will probably sell itself to you. Part of my role is getting people to try it. But once they're there, it sells itself.
Yeah, and where you say your role is to get people to try it, there's a few key events during the year that pull those people in. What kind of things, again, going back to that sort of, I wouldn't expect that. I've previously been to some of your around the Christmas time where you put all the lights up and serve food and stuff, a bit like the Kew Gardens kind of vibe, but locally. I guess that's something that, I didn't expect that from Hyde Hall. So what are some of the key things that you think have driven new audiences into Hyde Hall?
Well, we do have a wide range because, again, it's trying to, that sort of mass appeal to lots of different types of people. And yeah, we do have flower shows, but we have craft fairs, we have sculpture exhibitions, art shows. And as you say, at Christmas, we have RHS Glow, which is where we just turn the garden into this magical wonderland where it's all lit. And that's just becoming like a lovely family tradition for people to come to. Nothing to do with gardening. It's just a magical experience.
Yeah. And just going back a little bit then to where it is, because I think, when I sort of say Hyde Hall to a lot of people, it's kind of, they know the name, they couldn't quite pinpoint it on a map and things like that. And it's like, you say Chelmsford, I didn't realise that's Chelmsford and so on. What are the downsides of being where you are in the location? What are some of the things that you've had to overcome? And like, I think, for example, that a lot of Chelmsford and a lot of Essex is seen as a bit of a corridor. Like, people go through it into London, they don't often stop and things like that. So what's been some of the challenges around the location? Because obviously, again, being hyper-local, great, but do people go Hyde Hall? Where's that? What's that?
Well, I think historically the A12 was just that, people just carried on. And I think to a certain extent, if people don't know what there is to stop for, they'll carry on. So I think part of it is about that storytelling. But, we're this huge, great big green space on the edge of a city. Mm-hmm. And we are accessible. We are just off the A12. It's easy, and hopefully perhaps the RHS and the Hyde Hall name helps people to get off the A12. They might have heard of us, and it just helps as another reason to stop, really.
Yeah, and do you think there's more that Chelmsford needs in order to help with that as a destination and get people to stop here? Because obviously it can't just be solely on you guys. What else needs to happen in order to get there? Like, is there an easy bus service or things out to you? How do people get to you? Is that difficult?
That can be difficult. The vast majority of people probably drive to get to us. There are bus routes, but that could be better. But I think that goes of any sort of town and city, that connectivity of sort of trains and buses. I think there's work to be done there. Mm-hmm. Not just to us, but I mean sort of Essex wide. Improved connectivity, making it easy and convenient for people is key, really.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've got a lot of initiatives going on, say with the toddlers and those kind of things. I think you've also got a few schemes where people can come for, say, £1 and things like that. Because I think obviously the other association that people perhaps have is, it's expensive, or because it costs money to go there. But there's loads of ways around that, and I think you've also got the National Lottery plays a role in those kind of things. So perhaps describe some of those things to debunk that for people and say actually it's far more accessible than people would have thought.
Yeah, I think we're trying to break down those barriers. There's sort of, and I suppose there's that sort of emotional barriers. People think, is it for me? Is it relevant? Will I fit in? Will there be people like me there when I go? So there's a huge amount of emotional barriers, but there's also financial barriers. So by introducing the pound scheme, it just makes it more accessible for people to give us a try. And even if they've come once on the pound deal, they can return. So it's not something that it's just £1 to try it. For those people that have any or on benefits, they can keep coming back for £1 entry. And again, it's similar with the National Lottery. Buy a lottery ticket, show it at the gate, it brings you in. And again, it's just, for us, it's opening up new audiences as well. Mm. It helps us reach that more diverse pool of people to get to the garden.
Yeah, and do you think, is that working? Are you slowly seeing a change in who turns up? Because I know that you also do free school events as well.
Yeah, we do. I think, and again, it's not something that happens overnight. Again, that's part of the storytelling and just making people realise it's relevant to them. So that whole storytelling of it's for everybody, showing people of different ages in our imagery and the schemes we do, it's just trying to create that bigger picture that, there is something for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you think, and is it important to see these younger audiences come through? So whilst they may not be a gardener, but do we need more people gardening? Do we need more people interested in the provenance of food and how that comes to our table? And do we need younger audiences to keep places like Hyde Hall pristine and beautiful and nice experience it is?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's several things there. I mean, one thing we do know from our own research is that if people at a young age enjoy gardening, that passion will continue through into adulthood. Mm-hmm. And that really is all about the next generation of gardeners. And for some, it might be a career choice as well. But for others, with some of the schools, having a visit to us might be their first real connection with nature and the outdoor world. So, yeah, it's vitally important. But I think really, if you can get people interested at that young age, then it's a lifelong journey, really. Yeah,
and perhaps because we touched on it a few times in, let's just think about what a gardener is. Because I think, when you say, I'm thinking very much, it's weeding, it's cutting the lawn, there's a lot of maintenance going into that, but there's there's more experiential sides to it, funner things, growth, food, and so on. So when you do their school visits, what does that entail? Like, is it the whole education of that and really explaining to people what a gardener is? Or is it actually, no, we'll show you how to cut the hedges?
No, I guess it's more sort of fun stuff. A lot of it is linked to national curriculum. But it's just the nature, the wildlife. It's just that bigger picture of what green spaces are all about and how you can use them. If people want to go on and learn more specifics, they can. But a lot of it is just hopefully just sparking that sort of joy and imagination, really, for them to give it a go, particularly with growing. I think for children to see things grow, for them, it's just quite an amazing experience, really.
Yeah,
that's where their food comes from. And again, our vegetable garden, we've got sort of quite weird and wonderful things on offer. So it provides display, sort of educational aspects, and food as well.
Yeah. So when people come, they might be in one mood. When they leave, they might be in another, and perhaps touching on nature, well-being, the mental health side of that as well. Do you see a difference when people walk through and leave? Because obviously it's quite a cathartic experience coming to Hyde Hall. How do you see a lot of people perhaps using it for that? Is that maybe some of the audience with coming back for a walk or whatever that might be? Do you see the differences in people?
Yeah, massively, really massively. I think nowadays people are a little bit more aware of the whole sort of well-being aspects, which is great. We should be. We all lead busy lives. And I think really a visit to Hyde Hall just gets you away from that busyness, the hustle and bustle of the normality. And it's just somewhere you can stop, relax. Suddenly people sort of, their shoulders drop and they just feel lighter. And it's just being in nature. It has that effect on you.
Yeah. Why do you think that is so powerful?
Well, it probably is because we are so busy. We sort of, we don't make enough time for it. We're just so sort of, on that treadmill of doing what we've got to do on a daily basis. But I guess it's about being kind to yourself, really, isn't it? And allowing yourself time to stop and have me time.
Yeah. I guess the big challenge there is how you recognise that in first place and go, Hyde Hall might be an answer or an antidote to that. Again, once you've been, fine. But when you talk about storytelling and promoting it and the awareness of it, do you play on that angle in any way? Is there any story to be told about, well, actually, we have groups here or people, we know when they come in versus when they leave, they feel better or anything? Is that part of it?
Yes, it is. I mean, we've got, I guess, if I think about it, I guess a lot of that is probably, again, that word of mouth thing. People will go there, will tell their friends and family they've been. And so there's a lot of people that end up at ours through other people. But yeah, we do try and sort of craft that narrative around come and have a relaxing time out, take time out in nature, celebrate the seasons, that we've got a lot of space. There's room to sort of think and breathe. So it's just the language we use and the tone that hopefully just gives that vibe that, yeah, you can have a relaxing time if you visit.
And perhaps describe that a little bit more as you come through. And obviously you've said so far it's on the hill. Like where can I go? Where do I wander? What can you describe an experience that might be quite soothing in that sense?
Yeah, so I think you've got to picture the scene. If you've driven to us or got on a bus, you've sort of been on busy roads and you get there, you park, you go through admissions, but then suddenly this big green space just opens up before you. And you can see it's going off into the distance. And there's various pathways. It's like, wow, where do I go first? And when you arrive at Hyde Hall, there's a small wooded area or there's some courtyard gardens. So again, there's so much to see. But I think it's just strolling, exploring, seeing what you stumble upon.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think, for some people, it's probably just, wow. It's just the whole sort of place. It's got its own personality and identity. And the wonderful bird song, the quietness, it's not noisy. It's just quite a tranquil environment.
So you talk about it quite passionately. how did you find yourself involved? And is it a hobby more than anything?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm one of these people that I did start gardening young. My dad encouraged me to do it. I loved it. And then I left home, I moved into a flat. I had no garden. And it was only then that actually I realised how much I missed it. That, for me, was that light bulb moment when it's like, I don't actually love gardening. So my flat was suddenly covered in plants. And then eventually, when I had the opportunity to join Hyde Hall, it was like, this could be good. Hobby, work, combined. Very nice.
So what does a typical day look like for you then? You turn up. What do you do?
Well, I'd like to say that I stroll around the garden, but a lot of the time I am at my desk. But what I do like to do first thing, one of my favourite things to do, is grab coffee, camera, go out and just take some photos. And then we can post them out on social media and I can say, oh, look at this lovely plant that's just come into bloom. And that is great because that's before the doors open. Got the garden to ourselves and it feels quite a special time actually. So a nice morning walk to take some photos is how I like to start my day. But then beyond that, it's sort of doing lots of marketing and communications. So yeah, a little bit more desk-based. But again, I've got that access that I can nip out. If things are getting a bit stressful or too much, 5 minutes in the garden, you come back refreshed.
Yeah. What's your favourite part of the garden? Where do you go off to the most and hide for that 5 minutes?
Oh, there's so many places. I guess I quite like, we've got an area called the Robinson Garden. It feels quite immersive. It's quite shady. It's quite tranquil. And it's just, yeah, it feels quite an intimate space. And there's a few benches in there you can just go and sit away from everything.
And what might be coming next for the garden thing? Because obviously you've got this constant reinvention. You've got to keep people coming back. We want new audiences and things like that. What does it look like over the next 5 years?
Well, I guess from a business point of view, we've got to think about the practicalities. We do want more people through the door. We want more people to spend in our shop and in our garden centre. Because let's be honest, we need that level of income, not only to fulfil our sort of charitable aims, but to provide investment for the future. So we've got to make sure that our numbers grow if our garden's going to grow. But for us, it's new projects, new content. One of the exciting projects for me, which I think will be great, hopefully next year, we're going to do a lavender area where people will be able to walk through. So it'll be this wonderful purple experience, sort of really photographic, which will be lovely. But we've got to keep the business going in order to get that investment back.
Yeah, and do you see it as a business or a charity, or how does that work in your head? Because obviously it's quite a dichotomy to kind of go, we've got to charge people, but we've obviously got to run, we've got to improve the experience, that costs money. How do you manage all of those elements?
Well, again, we try to make sure that people are aware we are a charity, not just a business. Mm-hmm. I mean, even charities need to make money if they're going to continue all their good work. But I think, again, it is trying to make that point to people that, you know, we have got money-making operations, that we've got shows, we've got gardens, memberships provides vital income. But it is essential to the bigger picture of what the RHS is trying to do. So, again, it's sort of language, dropping things in, but you do need both. You need that mixture of both. Yeah.
And where are visitor numbers? Are they growing? Are they quite static? Are they in decline? What's the story on the numbers, really?
They are continuing to grow. Last year, we saw quite an increase, actually. So we're sort of, our numbers at the moment are about 440,000 visitors a year. So the next big milestone for us will be to get it to that sort of 500,000 level, which would be great. But yeah, in terms of Essex, that puts us up there with some of the big attractions. So yeah, long might continue.
What might be comparable? Where do other people go in Essex then that perhaps might be stealing some of those visitors that we can grab back?
Well, I think we're lucky in Essex. We've got such a wealth of different attractions, and probably things like Southend Pier. I think they always come up on top. The zoo always comes up on top. So very different things, actually. But that's great. I mean, you need that mixture of attractions in Essex to get people in. So competitors, yeah, they are, but also they're just ways people can enjoy their time. So we're all part of that mix, really.
Yeah, and if someone had perhaps been to those attractions and not been to Hyde Hall, what would you say to them to encourage them to come down?
That's a difficult one. I suppose, really, I would probably say you should visit Hyde Hall because we're hugely experimental. We're pushing the boundaries of horticulture. We've got a passionate team. We're trying things. We're not afraid to get things wrong. So it's just give us a try, really.
Yeah. And we're entering spring. Got a good few months coming up now. We've got some school holidays. We've got lots of time to fill with kids and things like that. What are a couple of events coming up in the spring that perhaps would encourage people to come and give it that try?
Well, for May half term, we've got the Great Garden Game-a-thon, which is all about having fun in the outdoors with silly games. So it's sort of 4 in a row. It's sort of building blocks. It's sort of beanbag throws. It's relay races with carrots. Rather than egg and spoon, we do egg and potato. So it's lots of silliness, really, just to get families outdoors and enjoying it. But if the weather's bad, we have also got indoor games.
Love that.
But that's good. And again, we have got our flower show. That's one of our big annual events. But again, it's more than just flowers because, again, there's street food, there's music. So it's just, a nice day out.
Yeah, I mean, I think every time you describe those things, it's probably just, for me, it's the unexpected. I think when people think about, if we go right back, RHS Hyde Hall, you get this image in your head, but actually what you're describing is so very different, can cater for all. You can come and have a great time, whether you just want to go for a walk, play some games, go in the park, have a coffee, get some lunch, find some tranquil space. There's a whole array of things that people can do.
There are, and it's not easy to tell everybody that, you can't sum that up in one sentence. So it's really hard to say, why should I visit? I think the best thing people can do is just come and discover it. And then they work out for themselves how they want to use the place. But that's what's so great about having regulars, that they do keep coming back. And that's lovely.
Yeah. So you want people to come and discover it. What's the best way to discover it, to book? How do people get in touch? How do they do that?
Well, you can literally just turn up on the day. You can go online and book tickets in advance. You could look at one of our events and join that. So lots of ways, but literally we're open every day from 10 o'clock. We just close on Christmas Day. So we're there, and we're open to 6 o'clock at the moment. So whether you just stroll up or pre-book, the option's yours.
Fantastic. Well, so thanks very much for taking us through that. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.